Hey, welcome to another episode of the Blackout Tips Podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we're live on a Saturday morning ready to do feedback. That's when we go through your comments and voicemails, everything you had to say about the episodes we recorded this week. This episode is dedicated strictly to you, only for the fans. And I don't mean the freaky ass, just need to stay inside. We of course, have an official weapon of the show. The official weapon is
phone chair.
An unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
And bullet ball, extreme. We also have a couple of sponsors.
Hey, I like sponsors.
Happy Pride, people. If you love comics, gaming, and art, and you're in the New York area this weekend, I'm talking about today, okay? If you're hearing the sound of my voice right now, you must check out the 5th annual WINC Creative Conference, Pridefest, Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Flushing Town Hall in Queens. You'll experience amazing panels, cosplay, and a marketplace full of talented artists. It's free to attend, but VIP guests can snag some exclusive swag. I love exclusive swag. Honestly, my favorite kind of swag.
Ain't it though?
Don't tell nobody. Brought to you by the Women in Comics Collective International and sponsored by Flushing Town Hall, the Power of Priya, and NYC Events. Spots are filling up fast. Click the link in our show notes to register. Don't miss this celebration of comics, gaming, and art at the WINC Creative Conference, Pridefest. See you there. And then the second sponsor we have, and someone already hit me up to say that they copped it. I love to hear it. I love to see it. We just got exclusive access to the first chapter of the most incredible graphic novel. It's called The Asiri. And let me tell you, it's absolutely mind-blowing. Imagine a world set in 10,000 BC where an advanced West African civilization has mastered space travel and even colonized Mars. The Asiri blends science fantasy with ancient African culture in a way you've never heard before. Created by Roy Okupwe. I want to make sure I said this right. Okupwe. The brilliant mind behind Iyanu, Child of Wonder. The Asiri is a whole new universe. The epic saga follows a civilization enhanced by Inkra, an inner power allowing them to manipulate technology. Some, known as the Ascended, can even become giants with special abilities. Think Attack on Titan, but all African and nobody gets eaten. Their golden age is shattered when a mysterious enemy invades from deep space. Volume 1 kicks off this incredible journey, throwing you into a rich, complex world where loyalty becomes a liability as the Asiri face this new threat. The art is stunning, the storytelling is gripping, and the world building is on another level. If you're a fan of science fiction, fantasy, or just love discovering new and diverse stories, you need to pick up The Asiri, A-S-I-R-I, created by Unique Studios and distributed by Dark Horse Comics. The Asiri is available now, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and everywhere you get comic books. Click on the link in the show notes. Get your copy today. Get your copy and prepare to have your mind blown. All right. Let's get into this feedback. There's plenty of it to get to. No 5-star reviews. Just gonna go ahead and rip the band-aid off on that one already. But
boo to the audience, boo.
But we do have some people that gave us money out of the goodness of their hearts, and we want to give them a shout out.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tithe to the Black Guy Tips.
Today's a new day. That's right. New shout outs, new handouts. Let's talk about who hooked us up. Deborah O, Mary H, Michael F, Allison H, Stefan H, Corey B, Jonathan H, Jeff M, J Full, Mako H, Nicole F, Early Daisy Photography, Marvin B, yes, Marvin B, Michael W, Asia D. We got a brand new one-time donation from DJ, who just says, with love, DJ Smiley Face. Thank you, DJ.
Oh, thank you, baby.
We thank you for visiting the church, okay? Annie P, Annie, I hope you're okay. David from Brooklyn, Tom W, Michael S, and Dana R. Thank you, everybody that took some time to put a little bit of money on our books. as I said, no 5-star reviews, so we got to get straight into the comments. Now, the first thing is there's no YouTube video for our feedback show. There were some issues with Crowdcast that day. We did switch over to Zoom, but I couldn't figure out at the time how to make
first time.
Yeah. I couldn't figure out how to make it so that Zoom would only record me and Karen, so I didn't want to put everybody's information out there on the social media,
correct,
and our YouTube page and whatever there. I don't know that they consented to being part of the broadcast, so I just couldn't put it out. I'm sorry, but we did get 9 comments on our website. Appia says, in the past, I also tried diets and it never worked long time. It shouldn't feel like a sacrifice or it's not sustainable. I think you're doing great, Rod. No food should be off limits or you end up wanting it more. Yeah, I mean, I'm meeting the goals that have been set for myself, and
I'm very happy and so proud of you. You was telling me about, you done some things this week and your numbers and stuff. I was like, that's excellent.
Yeah, I'm meeting the goals that I have set, and then because it's not just measuring just like weight, it's been cool. I took an in-body test again, which is this thing where they scan your body and stuff. I'll probably talk about it in depth on the pregame or something at some point.
Okay.
But anyway, I took this test and it tells you like your exact body percentage, the size of your muscles, how much of your body is muscle, how much is fat, how much is what your BMI is and all that stuff. And so there's some really good trends in the right directions, and like I said, it might not show up all the time on the scale, but that's not the point of everything. I definitely feel stronger, and I fit certain clothes better that I wasn't fitting as well before, and stuff like that. And mostly it's just been sustainable, and I've developed these new habits, and I really appreciate being able to do it. It was something I set my mind to, and I've never done it before, and I just didn't want to do it in like any type of negative way. I just wanted to make this a positive, fun experience, and I've been having a lot of fun, actually, like a lot of just learning and seeing what I can do, and not being the guy who would walk by the weight room and be like, I'm not going in there, but being like the person that goes like, yeah, I can't wait to get in there and see what I can do today.
Yay.
Appia says, also, the extreme form of the mean voice is, for example, anorexia. People still think they are too fat while literally dying from it. Being loving and friendly towards yourself, no matter what size, is definitely the way to go. As my Monday yoga teacher always says at the end, treat every living being you are in contact with love, especially yourself. Facts. That's a good one. Don't need to go to a plantation museum to see what it was. White person in denial. Just imagine someone kidnaps you from your home and you are now a slave with no rights or hope for freedom. I see Rob show slavery wasn't so bad. Now with white people, needs to be done. Yeah, I'm still going to make that happen.
Yeah, we fuck around and get a production studio, y'all. We're going to have all types of shit coming out.
Matt in Asheville says, motherfucking hell, as you were talking about BBL Chrissy ending up in the same position, I realized they wrote him as a white man failing upward. He could have had it with Ray, fucked it up on some BS holier than thou shit, and gets to keep on going. Fuck with white people. Also, sorry I messed up the poll. I voted once when I wasn't logged in and thought it didn't get counted, and voted again. #crooked. It's all right. Shoe Booty says, I'm rewatching season 1 of Dragons because 10 minutes into the first episode of the new season, I realized I had no idea what was going on and I couldn't remember anything. And as far as my shitty people and shitty kids comments, crowded places and whatnot just bring out the worst in a lot of folks, and none of us in our house want to deal. I don't think everyone is shitty. Yesterday, as we went to the pottery painting place at the mall to beat the heat, and there were 2 people with strollers and crying babies. My 9-year-old was muttering under her breath to me, why'd they even bring babies? They can't do anything here. No wonder they're crying. My Ken, she's definitely mine. Ha! And I just realized how right you are, Rod. You hit the nail on the head regarding Disney and how the kids aren't really dialed into the characters. When I think about the new IP and everything regarding Disney, there's nothing driving my kid to want to go to Disney. She's not head over heels for any of the characters or anything that it matters. Like Karen, though, she is super psyched for Super Nintendo World and has been telling us about its proposed opening date since last year.
Yeah, me and your baby have been on top of that Super Nintendo world. I remember when it first opened up, they first one wasn't even in America. I think it was over in Japan. And I remember watching one of our favorite YouTube channels where they would like cover things like that. And one of the people on it, her specific thing was like Nintendo. So she would cover like all the Mario games, things like that. And she actually went to the one in Japan and actually talked about like all the different things you could do. Like it was just beautiful. And the whole time I was like, oh my God, I want to go. I don't know if I go to Japan, but I want to go. And then when I was like, oh, they got one here in a US of A, I was like, one of these old days, I'm going to go. I don't care if I had to go by myself. I'm going to go and have a good time and hit the blocks and get the badges and get the watches and do all the shit with the kids and do all the treasure hunts. Because, and they like, you can ride like the Mario Kart racing thing and you can see all the characters. Like, I love shit like that. I love, like, even when we go to Carowinds, no, it might sound weird, but it's not weird. When Layla was small, we used to go to Carowinds. I used to love to take like my smaller cousins and stuff and go out there. And I would like take pictures with like the mascot. Like, to me, that stuff brought me joy. Because as an adult, we get so bogged down with the things of the world that we don't tap into our childhood at all. Like the world tells you, fuck your childhood once you turn a certain age. And being an adult is not enjoying shit, complaining about shit, paying bills, having kids, and working yourself to death to the day you die. I refuse to accept that. I feel like life is a little bit more than just that. Like you have to have joy in your life. I know, I put like this, I have to have joy in my life. And so for me, the things that make me happy are the things that I want to invest my time and money and effort in, you know, because the thing is, there's enough things in the world to tell you that the world is shitty, that sometimes you need these things as a form of escapism, even as an adult.
Yeah, and one of the things with the Nintendo theme park that I remember reading when it dropped was that it has a lot of size requirements. Like you have to be so small to ride certain rides and stuff like that. So it, you know, even the Mario Kart, I think you have to have a 40-inch waistline. Anything over that, you can't ride it. The average waistline in America for men is 40.5 inches.
Oh, I did not know that.
And for women, it's 37.8. So, you know, I definitely, I probably have to continue on this journey before I can really get excited about doing any of that shit.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Oh no, I just remember reading it when it first dropped, because people were saying like, this is a fat phobic park and all that stuff. I'm not gonna call it fat phobic. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know or whatever about creating that park and all that stuff.
Right.
But I just remember being like, oh, okay, well, I can't go, but maybe one day I will be able to go. We'll see. Sean says, I respect your polyamorous acceptance of straying listeners, just not sure I could do it. Sean also says, when I took my son to Disney, he enjoyed it, especially the Star Wars area, but he enjoyed the trip to the Kennedy Space Center more and will still choose Legoland over Nagoya over Tokyo Disney if given the choice, even though he is a little old for most of the rides. EV says, I saw something about the first episode of the season 2 of House of the Dragons. Someone mentioned that Rhea's dragon was the mother of Jace's dragon. So when Rhea was mourning over her dead son, the dragon was crying up for her son as well. I thought that was pretty deep. That is deep. The poll is, do you watch House of the Dragon? 60% yes, 40% no, which is interesting, but also makes sense. I don't think our whole audience watches it. I think a lot of our audience still listens to our reviews, even though they don't watch it, as many have told us.
Yes.
All right, so that was it for that one. Let's go to the next episode. This is with JL Covan. It's called Success is Coming, episode 2925. We got 4 comments. Appia says, we have now many parties here to vote, and it's its own challenge, but I think it's better. Here's how it works. When a party reaches 5% at an election, it will receive seats according to the proportion of votes that it got. This is the system we're living in. The upside is definitely that even smaller parties have a chance to matter, and parties must form coalitions to form governments. This is, of course, not easy, and tensions rise. But overall, I like the thought behind it. They must try to get along and work together, otherwise it's over. Luckily, Mr. Appia and I vote similarly to each other. With so many possibilities, it's often a lot different, but overall, left-leaning and non-crazy. I couldn't date a right-wing voter. Rona Raphael says, back in my whole days, I used to claim that I didn't care about politics. I was in denial about what attracted me to women. After chasing old girl for some time, she added me to her Facebook, and after seeing her political comments, I found myself drifting away to the point where she finally was giving me attention. I had completely moved on. Something about Obama's second term was my activation. The moment you said all politicians are the same on a date, my crush just died. I still tried to push through it, but one of my last dates in the wild caught the mood change, and afterward texted me that she felt me depart. I hadn't begun therapy treatment and was hiding behind a lot of things, but the truth is nothing waking me up out of a crush faster than I don't vote or I believe in small government or no taxes. My inner Homer Simpson activates, and before you can ask me if I'm liberal or Democrat, I've disappeared, especially if I ignore my inner alarm bells and ask a follow-up question and get the infamous all politicians are liars and corrupt. I've been into politics since I was a kid in Benin City. It would be evil to have settled with someone who didn't care about voting. I had dreams of being able to before I even knew what it was. So now I'd rather watch paid porn than settle with GOP and Jill Stein voter. Ain't nobody got time for that.
That's a waste of a vote, particularly here in America.
Yeah. Shoe Booty says Shania Twain might not talk to her ex best friend, but not just because of the ex-husband having an affair with her, but Shania then went on to marry her friend's husband. Wife swapping white people news. Wow.
Oh,
okay. I didn't know that. Thank you. You put us on to some white goss. EVE says Tropic Thunder is still one of the funniest movies ever made. While I don't care much for Tom Cruise one way or the other, his role as Les Grossman is my favorite. I didn't even know it was him until the end credits.
I think most people like live, like when the movie came out, because like you said, you didn't have all the YouTubes, all the people digging, trying to find out and shit. Most people did not realize that until the ending of that movie.
I know I didn't, and I am a Tom Cruise fan. I'm not indifferent at all. And he disappeared into that makeup and that role.
Yes, he did.
And it wasn't until he was doing that dance to Ludacris I realized it was him. It's also my favorite RDJ movie, and no, I don't think this movie could be made today because there would be so many think pieces. As soon as the script leaks, the producers would scrap it. Yeah, that's a great point. The way people kill IP and kill ideas in their crib now with social media is beyond ridiculous to me. They act like they're helping, but they're not. They're just letting their paranoid shit kick in and just lead the way. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, and they never go back when they're wrong and correct it. And a lot of those things get scrapped or get sidelined or end up with horrible PR that no franchise, no media can overcome when you start with just the idea. Everybody hated the idea. So that shit sucks. And I wish we were in this place where at least the thing got made before we went crazy on people.
I agree. And also you can't have it both ways, because what happens sometimes, they just make shit and put it out. Why didn't y'all tell nobody? Because y'all motherfuckers cry and complain and write everything. So we just put the shit out. If it catches on, that's cool. And if it don't, that's cool too. But then you complain about how you didn't know about it. But if we tell you about it, you'll crush it and the shit will never get made. Like, these are people creative ideas and things that they've been working on for years sometimes. And it's like, well, damn, dog. And like you say, at least let us see a finished project, a pilot or something before you shoot it in the head.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. A lot of people online don't do nuance. They just want to get out the first hot take. I think a lot of content creating has changed art as we view it today. I agree. Let's check the comments on this one, because we did have the YouTube for it. We got 4 comments. Aiken says, had to go watch the Fallout trailer. It's the best movie trailer.
Yes, that will forever be my bop. Me and Roger for like a year and a half, 2 years. Every time that shit came on, me and Roger got crunk in the theater.
Kokui says, love it when JL is on, but you will not touch Chris Plummer. I don't even know who Chris Plummer is. I imagine some white people knew shit. I don't know. Christoph says, just got my tickets for JL in DC this weekend. Yes, I know. Nick Jew went out to the show as well. So I hope y'all had a good time. I know it was after that horrible debate by Biden and gaslighting by Trump and no fact checking by CNN. So if you're gonna hang out with a person who is gonna make you laugh about that bullshit, I think JL is a top tier comedian to go kick it with. So I'm sure y'all enjoyed those shows. The poll was, will you try Netflix popcorn? Yes or no? 23% yes, 77% no. Yeah.
It's some flat bad pop. And you said it's pre-pop too? The fuck is this? It's pre-popped, it's cold. No, thank you.
I'm not a big fan of the pre-popped bag of popcorn. I like hot microwave popcorn at the, like, if I gotta have it at home. And obviously movie theater popcorn is the top tier, you know. Okay, all right, so that is it for those 2 episodes. We got more coming, but I'm gonna play music so we can hopefully get some get a commercial in here. That's a new beat. That's Abundance. Infrared Crypto sent in a bunch of beats this morning.
Yay.
All right, the next episode is a McFlurry of Bullets, episode 2926. Appia says, where have you been in... Oh, wait. No. I'm sorry. Rona Raphael says, I've been in Germany for a week now and been playing a game of when a non-American commercial will pop up during the podcast, and alas, it finally did it today, and I understood it. It was a Shopify advert in German. I wonder if Appia gets all her commercials in Dutch or English. Before this Shopify one, it was a bunch of podcast commercials that always ran American and black. I was with Karen when it came to hip hop committee with Rep Bowman. To me, it felt like since it's an election year, primary results should be out when you read this. And Jamal is in a tight race with someone who clearly stands by Israel. One of Jamal's biggest criticisms is being good with social media speak and language, but actual government biz, he don't got it. On social media, his talk is gold, but he also has a large Jewish constituency that he represents. So maybe leaning into hip-hop was to get the youth out for the primary voting, which doesn't normally attract large turnout, but you know who gonna stay consistent with their voting according to the numbers. Also know that RNC threw money in Jamal's race. In my opinion, it wouldn't have been a close one if he focused on winning his constituency over social media. If he loses, he'll blame the DNC establishment, but Schumer is Jewish and has criticized Netanyahu a lot without holding back since October 7th, and doesn't seem to be losing his constituency, so I don't know. Anyways, it sounds great. It sounds great, hip hop committee. Also sound very Eric Adams style too. He loves his hip hop, don't he? Yeah, and I think Jamal Bowman did lose that race. Once again, I always say, even the people I like, no matter this is not like a stand account for politician situation. Like, politicians are not entertainers or celebrities. They're supposed to go out and earn your vote. Yeah, they're supposed to go out and be prepared to be challenged. They know the primary is coming. Yep. I wouldn't care if every single politician I fuck with got primary. It's not about loyalty to them. It's about how tight are you with your constituency and the people that actually vote in your district. And Twitter's one thing, podcast, social media, all that stuff is cool, but if your people in your district don't agree with you, don't feel you, you can't communicate those ideas and make them get behind you. That's all that matters. I know the big picture people think, and it's very funny how people do this, but I have to stay consistent in my vision of the world, and I'm not gonna allow the flip-flopping in my face, which is essentially whenever they don't like the result, they act like the Democrats installed someone in office. Right. The truth of the matter is you have to vote, and the voters always get what they want, period. The voters always get what they want. Social media always telling you some bullshit, but at the end of the day, I've watched people get challenged with a lot of money being flown into a race, and like a Democrat that just did the groundwork, the leg work, going house to house, door to door, community meetings. that motherfucker will win.
Yes.
You know, we've seen it. We've seen money come into a race and it just don't matter. You can't outspend a person that is lockstep with their district. So for Jamal Bowman, apparently the challenge worked. And yes, Twitter loves him, but Twitter don't vote.
They don't vote.
Appia says, I get German. This is in reply. I get German ads sometimes, but on this podcast, I now only get ads for other podcasts about football, gangster rap, and gender wars. 3 topics.
Oh, snap. We affected your algorithm.
Yeah, I don't even know what gangster rap podcasts there are out there. 3 topics, not really for me, but nice try. If I had to choose, I think I would choose gangster rap. I don't care about sports, and gender wars make my blood boil. And the cool guy in the ad says that gangster rap is misunderstood and very influential. Poor G rappers. I now feel that I should not use the G word, but I don't know. Gangster's not. That's not a racial word. That's not a racist word.
It's just a genre.
I'm sure they are sweet, nice, and progressive and care about the environment and helping others, but society just doesn't want to understand. She also said, where have you been in Germany? Blackout Tips listeners, if you are in Germany, contact me. The chances are extremely high that you will come through Frankfurt, and I live 25 car minutes away from there. And then she says, I'm Doral C on Facebook. So if you're ever in Germany and you're a Blackout Tips listener, Appia would love to meet you. All right. Shoe Booty says, what an election year stunt. So disingenuous. A hip hop. Hippity hop. We're the Democrats and we're here to say we like black voters in a major way.
Yes, my type of rapping, which is terrible because I can't rap.
Yeah, I don't like it, and you're right, Shoe Booty. It definitely gives off like,
yeah, it's like a jungle outside.
The fact that they're not giving policy, just it irks me to know. It's sad because that's the familiarity I have with Jamal Bowman. I haven't really been on his Twitter or looked at anything viral about him, you know, talking about Israel and stuff. I'm not saying, because that's not really necessarily a deal breaker for me that he was talking bad about what Israel's doing and stuff. That I can't speak for the people in his community because I don't live there, but the hip hop thing turned me off. And then just some of the speeches I have seen him give, I'm gonna say less because it's just, I don't think there's a way to say what I want to say that some people won't take it in a negative light. Just let me just stick to what we all can agree on. You need to have a good connection to the people that vote in your community, or else you're gonna end up losing.
Yep, because those are the people that matter, because those are the people that vote.
There's no amount of money that it's not the money.
Nope.
People like to say it's the money when it's a loss that they don't agree with, but it's not really the money. Some people have beaten bigger, longer odds with less because they just did the work. EV says Tim Scott is the saddest coon in the Cooniverse because he's doing all this stumping for Dump and hopes that he'll be picked as VP, and there's no way Dump is picking a black man. Someone please free that white woman Tim is holding hostage. Someone needs to tell her all money isn't good money. She ain't being held hostage. She want to be there.
Yeah, her direct deposit hitting, so she good.
This a real easy job for her. She ain't never got to fuck him either. Just
you ain't got to show up to nothing. Every now and then, just show your face. Take a photo every now and then, and you Gucci.
Yeah, just pull a little tink every time his feelings get hurt that Trump ain't selected him yet. It's an easy job. YouTube. S. Carter says 51:43. I guess that's the minute mark on the show. The BMAC, I'm with you, Karen. Who is the targeted audience? Because 40 and 50-year-olds are already voting or have never voted. The demo that needs convincing are the younger millennials and other alphas. It sounds like they're trying to engage voters more, and I don't think the people they will reach are the ones that will. I could be wrong. So maybe it's about the hip hop thing. Okay. CMH says, and you know he doesn't go nowhere near the cat. That is on point. Thank you. I think it's interesting all the word salad used to describe the Hip Hop and Justice Task Force. There is no set of active goals or agendas presented, and even more concerning is that all the articles I could find on Google were dated February 14 through 16 of 2024. Nothing current in June 2024. Where was there money behind this, and if so, where did that money go? Those are my questions.
Right.
I don't know.
Right, and it sounds like it's some shit that they threw out there because when Roger was explaining it to me, because my brain was going. I kept saying, my brain was like, this don't make sense. This don't make sense. Okay, where's the foundation? What are we actually doing? Where did it go? And none of those questions were answered. It was a big ass word salad. And for the fact that it's February and it's June and you lost, we definitely ain't gonna hear nothing else again.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, so that was the poll. Was the hip hop task force, they will follow through or they were just pandering? 92% said they were just pandering. 8% think they will follow through. I'm surprised that 8% thinks that. I also wonder what happens now that Jamal Bowman's not in office.
Does that shit die?
Yeah, like yeah. So anyway, I also don't know, to be honest, don't know what a follow through looks like here.
Because you never told me. All you do was a bunch of words, mix them together and toss them at me.
Mike Kaplan was a guest on the next episode 2927, just like riding a bike. Brooklyn Shoebase says, I enjoy Mike's love, appreciation, and use of words. It made me laugh, smile, and want to study etymology. Sean says, etymology, late Middle English from the Old French, etymology via Latin from Greek, etymologia, from etymologos, student of etymology, from etymon, neuter, single to etymos, true. I think that's a long way to go about a etymology joke, but I appreciate it, and Mike would too.
Yes, he would.
EVE says the AC should be the least of the Olympian worries. Some of the swimming events are taking place in the river, and the river in Paris is full of garbage. France paid over $1 billion to clean it up, and French citizens are pissed, and they are planning to protest how wasteful the government has been. They plan to protest by having hundreds of people shit in the river. The swimmers are in store for a shitty time. Appia says they should have given out medals. Appia says they should have given out medals for collecting the most garbage while swimming. Ha! Funny.
Yes.
Let's see. YouTube for the Mike Kaplan episode got 2 comments. Sayuda says Mike's going to ask her to marry him. Fingers crossed, smile emoji. Well, I go to the show and find out. Christoph says, I caught Mike's joke at 122.43. That was hilarious. And I also wonder if Paris figured out the bed bugs issue. I heard they did. Sorry, I'm trying to click to see what.
And that's just for me. But
what was the joke?
Are back, but so I don't know. But they definitely. I mean, look, I think it's gonna be a hot Olympic summer. That's all.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely, because they don't have any air conditioning unless you're in the United States. Then it'll be a cool.
Yeah,
but. What I was gonna say is so maybe also this cuts back on some of the sex too,
cause it's hot,
and y'all, your athletes, you're in tip top shape, but like sometimes it's like, yo, it's a little too hot to be having sex on this twin bed, because the beds still are small. I wouldn't look that part up. Okay, I did that research. And so maybe they're like, it'll cut down the sex. Like this fan is not gonna be enough.
Have you ever been around young people? Their energy level is off the chain.
Some things I'm saying are sarcastic.
I about to say young people don't care. They were like, fucking let's go. We don't care if it's 110 degrees.
But now we also have air conditioners, so I feel like the people with the air conditioners get the most sex. I feel like
they are. It's a luxury.
This is kind of hurting the American Olympians a little bit. I feel like maybe we'll use up like 75% of our stamina for sex instead of like 50%. And so if you're a betting person, maybe bet on the other countries this year in the Summer Olympics, because I'm a little nervous about this whole AC twin bed unlimited sex thing. 300,000 condoms is a lot of condoms.
Yeah. And that's just for me. But
oh yeah, I do remember this joke. Sorry. I know I played that a long time, but I enjoyed listening to us. All right.
Mike.
The poll was, would you stay? Oh wait, was that the only comment? Let me make sure I got all the comments. Okay, yeah, cool. All right. The poll was, would you stay in that $16 hotel with a random stranger in one bed? 15% said yes, 85% said no. I wouldn't do it. A random stranger, there's a lot. I know culturally they might be safer and stuff, but I just couldn't get it. It was only one bed in the picture. I just can't. I'm not built like that. Sorry. Last episode is 2928 Twin. Where have you been? Our Game of Thrones recap, our House of the Dragon recap. Lakita says, when Ray wanted to beef up security, I heard, it's up. Lost too many soldiers not to play it safe. What's crazy is Ray and Allison seem reluctant because somewhere in there, there's still love for the other girl, but they've let others, men, push them into some shit they never wanted, and misunderstandings are one of the history's biggest instigators. Shit gives me anxiety.
I can see that.
Partially, yeah. I think the real truth is they have to reconcile what both of them kind of do want, the power and the throne.
So it's going to be conflict no matter what.
Yeah. At this point, Ray thinks it's her birthright. And I think Allison thinks it's the best way to protect herself and her family. And they're going to have to fight. Cal says, I guess this is more of a comment for the talented listeners providing music, but can we get these theme songs on stream or MP3 downloads? I've thought this many times before on other episode segments, but the themes on this episode finally made me ask. Well, as I've said many times before on this show, and when I've shouted the guys out, they have pages on Spotify and stuff. You can go Google them. Some of them have entire albums out. Felt 5 is an amazing, talented artist that raps, sings, everything. Infrared Crypto has many beat out. Psycho Music has many instrumentals out there. Like, it's not, bro cooked that up. That's my brother. All one word, D-A-T, like they all have stuff out there. Y'all can go find it. I can't tell them or make them put something out there from our show. Some of the stuff they want is just for us to have it just for our show.
Yes.
And they want this to be the only place that y'all can hear it. And some stuff they have where it's just like an album or something and you can go listen to it. Felt 5 made a whole Black Capitalism song. It's not just that 30 seconds I play. So yeah, y'all should always check out the artist when I shout them out, because there's always something out there.
Yes, it is.
It Me says, another great recap. Love it as always. Just the acting this week was so good. Emma D'Arcy, Ray has given such great performances these last 2 weeks, and I can't stand any of them conniving ass greens except Helena. Poor Sir Otto, but Sir Otto did his thing. It is forever and always fuck BBL Chrissy, oh Republican hypocritical ass. Just a side note, not trying to disrespect your no book rule, and this is not a spoiler, but the book is supposed to be a bunch of unreliable sources, whereas the show is supposed to be what really happened. I find this great, but so many are whining about the differences, and I just, okay, that's it. Keep making great content. Hashtag rooting for everyone black.
Yep, and that's one reason why we said we don't want to hear from the book readers, because, they complain, and want to spoil shit and ruin shit, and why did they do it? I like when something's in a different format to give me something different. That's one thing I loved about The Walking Dead. Me and Roger read all The Walking Dead comics, and I'm glad that the TV show, yes, it had certain points, but it didn't follow it tit for tat. Like, give me something different. Don't show me the same shit that I already know as a reader. What's the point of me being here if you're going to regurgitate what I already know?
Right. EV says, every week when I don't think I can hate BBL Chrissy more, he proves me wrong. I hate that motherfucker. Honestly, I think he's so mad at Ray because he's still in love with her. That's probably why he's sleeping with Allison, to get back at her. As much as I despise Otto, it was a mistake to get rid of him. I wouldn't be surprised if Larry starts blackmailing BBL Chrissy to get his way. Aegon is going to get a doo-doo surprise like Cersei. If he keep messing with the small folk, he deserves it. Rashawn says, hey Rod, hey Karen, my friend put me on your Game of Thrones recaps years ago. He listens to all your pods. I came for the recaps. We be pretty geeked every week after the show and lament for 3 or 4 days about having to wait for your recap. So geeked that this season I look for other black people Game of Thrones recaps just to hold me over while I wait for yours. You aren't lying, Rod. This is the best recap show. As a longtime radio producer, I can hear the prep work that goes into it, especially when I tried other shows. My friend says some of these other recap shows get the Game of Thrones episodes in advance so they can have their recaps at the ready, and those shows are still pretty whack. Anyways, said all that to say, me and my friends are on chat recapping your recap, and after it finally dropped, or you put finally dropped, retelling the jokes, Aegon, James, If JJ Redick, Homelander, etc. Ha ha. Then I said, but I was blown that Rod rushed the last segment because they had something to do. And I was like, fuck that appointment, Rod. And my friend was like, right, fuck that appointment. And we had a hearty G-chat laugh over being mad you rushed the recap for said appointment. It's just hilarious to me that we both felt cheated and were upset. Like, I'm sure Rod and Karen would have had more to say about the twins and all the Dragonstone shit. Damn, that appointment, ha ha ha. How you gonna do us like that, Rod? You know this is the best of them Thrones recaps. Don't shortchange us. Bravo, y'all, Ivy.
Thank you.
Well, the appointment was for Karen.
It was for me. My bad, y'all.
The appointment was for Karen to be on the Firestarter podcast.
Woo-hoo, I was on Hot Firestarter this week.
And it was her first time ever being on there solo, for sure. I maybe even her first time being on there. I just don't remember. I don't remember us doing it together, but they said we did.
Yes, they did.
But
It's been a while then.
Yeah, it must have been a very long time ago. But anyway, she was very excited about it, and so she had to stand an appointment. We didn't have time to go further. I'm sure we could have found a few more jokes and stuff, but you know, time didn't allow for that. But you know, we'll get it together. And I looked at the time. I mean, y'all got like an hour 45 out of that or something. It was a pretty good sized episode. Yeah, an hour 48. Yeah, I don't feel too bad. Like, y'all would have got like maybe 5-10 more minutes at best before it was time to wrap that shit up.
Damn these appointments, Rod.
Well, what's most important is that they feel that way, because that means that we're doing a good job. I want y'all to feel like you want more,
yes,
not less.
Agreed.
Hustle No Flow says, I think you mentioned, and which is crazy because that's an hour and 50 minutes and y'all still wanted more. That means I think we are killing it.
Yes.
Hustle No Flow says, I think you mentioned that Ray Neese might flip out if those boys end up being Corliss's bastards, but I think that there's been so many bastards across the game, all this and Game of Thrones, that I think it will be more polyamory. Yeah, I remember how Ned Stark wife felt about John the Bastard, so I'm gonna say
she was not too happy.
It's a lot of bastards in real life, and they don't make the wives of the husbands any more polyamorous about the shit. They like, and also polyamory wasn't like go have a whole fucking family, go have kids with
without
other people.
my knowledge. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it works out, if that's even what happens, because I'm guessing that's what the show is leaning towards, but I could be wrong. I didn't read them fucking books, so they could just be two niggas that don't like him or some other type of relationship that I'm not sure of. But
right,
they clearly, if they're bastards, I do want to see how Niecy would take it, you know, especially after losing her son. That don't mean she gonna be like, oh, finally a son replacement. She might look at that shit like, you had other sons, nigga, fuck you.
Right, didn't tell me.
We just have to find out what those boat bastards will be called in Driftmark.
Oh no,
Boat bastards is pretty good. Hopefully it's got some soul to it. Then let's check YouTube and see what they said about this episode. We got 4 comments. Christoph says, I know last week I said I was not Team Green, but after doing some soul searching and looking back at events of last season, Aemon losing his eye and being bullied, Rhaenyra's philandering and bearing bastard princes, and Alicent's sacrifices as a result of marrying Viserys, although these moments have brought us to this moment and Team Green may be justified in their actions, I'm a very conflicted person at this point. Hey, shout out to you. I think the show wants people like you to feel like it's 50-50. I don't think the show's doing a good job of making us feel like it's 50-50. I know I feel like the protagonistic slant is very heavy towards Team Black, and I don't know how you get people back to some place where they're like, it's kind of everybody's fault. Like, just the shit that's been happening is starting to feel like, nah, Ray should get revenge, you know? Even the way that, like, with the stuff with Daemon, where, like, Rhaenyra didn't know he was gonna do that way. She doesn't approve of the baby getting killed. Like, it's almost like they want you to be on. Like, it would almost be better if Rhaenyra was like, yeah, the plan was to kill that little innocent baby. Yep. Because then people would have a moral quandary of like, okay, I was in for the revenge, but how far would I go before I'm like, yeah, I don't think beheading an innocent baby is where I have to step back and reevaluate whose side I'm on.
Right.
They haven't done that so far. I think almost, if you took a poll, maybe we'll make that the poll, but I feel like the vast majority of people be Team Black. Rob Reed says, finally caught up on the show so I can watch the recaps. Wishing both of you the best. Christoph says, when Otto slowly turned his head to BBL Chrissy, I fell out my damn chair. Otto was on one this episode. That was a great shot.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way the camera was on his face and he kept turning towards him real slow, not speaking.
Like he's trying to process what he was hearing.
And it was after Aegon had said, he's already acted. You know, Sir Christian Cole's already acted. And his face looked like, what the fuck have you two idiots done? Culture Love says, you can definitely hear how that second song elevated since last week. The Blackout Tips Nation always brings it. Yeah, that was Felt 5 giving us the remaster version. And yeah, you can hear it.
You
like,
can hear the difference. Yeah.
Appreciate that brother so much. That shit, his shit is always on point and quality, and he's so talented. And then of course, like debuting my brother's beat with the, I mean, he's a professional producer.
Yes, all these people did in the
Sounds
music genre.
All right. The poll was, where would you rather live right now in Westeros? Dragonstone, King's Landing, or Driftmark? Dragonstone is where Rhaenyra and them live. King's Landing is obviously where Aegon and Alicent and them live. And Driftmark is where Corlys and Rhaenys are at right now.
Tell them in Driftmark, because they is like separate from everything.
62% of people said Driftmark. Dragonstone 33%. King's Landing 4%. That makes sense. I do worry a little bit about the defenses at Driftmark.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they're so isolated that if some shit went down, if the Team Green just gathered out they dragons and flew over there, they could possibly take out Rhaenys and Meleys. But hopefully that don't happen, because I don't want to see that. That would kill it for me. All right, we have some voicemails to get to, but first, another one of these new beats.
Come on through, insecure transitional beats.
All right, let's get to these voicemails. I think the first one's from Olivia.
Hi, Rod and Karen. It's Olivia calling from Japan once again. I just wanted to say hi and let you guys know that I am one of the many people, I'm sure, who have never seen an episode of Game of Thrones. I've never seen an episode of The Walking Dead. All of the shows that you guys recapped, not really having access to cable and not really being a huge TV watcher, I've been able to really, really enjoy all of your all of your recap episodes, and it makes me feel like I belong, like I know what's going on. Aww. That I'm a little bit more closer to like what's going on stateside, and what's popular and what's not and whatnot. So I just wanted to tell you guys how I really enjoy them, and I really, really, really appreciate all the hard work that y'all put in to them. So that's all I was calling for. Oh, and I wanted to say that I want to look at my sugar, baby. I want a piece of that meat. The guy that does all of the granny videos, his name is Reggie Couz. That's Reggie Couz. He's on Instagram. It's a whole series. So please check his Instagram account out, because there's a whole bunch of those like sugar baby, sugar mama videos, not just the one that you guys like. So yeah, that's it. I made it through 3 minutes, yay, without the lady cutting me off. Bye, guys.
And yeah, absolutely. I actually I am a fan of his. I found him on social media and whatnot, and I saved all those because they're so funny. And yeah,
that's my jam, my freaky lady.
Yeah, I've heard them. I've heard so many of them. And they're all so good. But yeah, that's the one. That was the first one I heard, and I don't think anything will ever top that for me. The first time I heard that one. There are other ones. I like the ones where he coughs at the end as her. He also has the return skit where like he got that one uncle that's always in the car singing. And yeah, he's just he's funny as shit. But yeah, I absolutely love that dude's content. And thank you, Olivia from Japan. We love getting that international love. You know, just sometimes you forget that we out here. Iman left a voicemail.
Hey Rod, hey Karen, this is Iman. So I just watched the first episode of House of the Dragons and listened to the recap, and I just want to say, I want to apologize if during the Game of Thrones, if I know I never did any like spoilers or prediction things, but I know I was obsessed with the books because I read all the books so far for the Game of Thrones, and I know I did comparisons of like, and in the book they did it this way, and I was like, I know I did it. So I just want to apologize for that. And honestly, I think because I didn't read the book for House of the Dragons, but I do watch little videos about comparisons, like after I've watched the episode. And even like in Facebook groups, like people who didn't read the books, they're like mad about the show. And I was like, why are y'all mad? Because honestly, I'm glad I didn't read the book because it killed me out. But the way George R.R. Martin did this book, because it's from like a maester's point of view, I think that's genius, because the show can be like, forget what you heard, this is what really happened, because from a maester's point of view, he's getting like third person, fourth person, second person accounts of what happened. So I really like it. I really appreciate it. Glad that the recap is back. I'm really excited. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, Mon. Oh. And I don't remember Ramon calling in or talking about the books, but I think every year we just have to do that up front. We had to learn that we need to do that up front because it got so bad during Game of Thrones that it really got to a point where it's like we had to make that we have to stop. I do understand that this book was written differently than the other books, so it's less reliable narrators, and the show can take more liberties with what happened because it's not necessarily a reliable narrator that's telling you this is exactly what happened, which is cool. But I'm sure there's some major events and stuff that people just know happen in that universe that we don't know, right? Or maybe if we know anything about them, it's because they were talked about in the old show or something. So I think just cooking the ingredients to make a soup for this show, it's just very important that me and Karen don't know. Right. To the point that, like I said, if I don't listen to any other podcast about it, I don't really even guest on other podcasts about it, because a lot of times they have like spoiler section, book reader section, what happened in the book versus what happened on the show, which I get for their content makes a lot of sense. For me, staying ignorant makes more fun for me and the audience, because you truly get to see me and Karen go, yeah, we didn't know what the fuck that was, or oh my god, we got something right, and it's genuine. And every once in a while I will watch like a new rock star explainer or something about it, but even they have a section where they're like separate, hey, we're gonna talk about the books, and I have to cut it off. I can't, I think for the best product we shouldn't know it, for the audience and for ourselves. It just that it I think is better. But yeah, we also, I think the main thing for us is everyone has been very kind and very nice and following the instructions about feedback, and I really appreciate y'all. This is why y'all are the best audience. We have the best listeners. Why we love y'all so much is because I could see that being problems with other shows and people writing in and all that stuff, but the community we've created around the blackout tips, I never even worry about that. We just say, hey, don't do this, and that's it. No one's like, no, I don't give a fuck. I'm writing my whole fucking thesis on this shit before y'all do a recap. Right. Like, we wouldn't read it anyway, but All right, last one is Blue Wave Rider.
Hey y'all, this is the Blue Wave Rider. I'm gonna try to make it quick. I was just listening to Bad Biscuit talk about these strange American flags she's seeing. You know, the one in black and white and no color I wasn't aware of, but I have seen that American flag with the blue line in it. And it refers to the thin blue line, which is kind of coded language for the police. So if I'm not mistaken, people put it up to show their support for the police. It's just like if you see a blue porch light, that's supposed to show that you support your police or their police, however you want to put that. But thanks, Bad Biscuit, for bringing that up. Just like we have our own symbols, the other side has their own symbols too. And I guess I would suggest for all people of color everywhere, when you see a symbol you don't recognize, look that bad boy up so you know what you're dealing with. When Obama became president, America was supposed to become this post-racial society, but that's a comedy and faux act. We about as post-racial as I am. I can't even think of a good analogy. But, yeah, we going the other way, and if we got back into a civil war, I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, I'm out. Bye.
I just want to say what's very ironic about the thin blue line thing being a symbol of the police is what the thin blue line really means is that cops are always supposed to support each other like a gang. And to me, the thin blue line is a symbol of corruption, because they basically say don't cross the thin blue line, meaning don't turn in your fellow officers, don't try to stop them if you see them abusing somebody. That means you violated the thin blue line between us and civilians. And the fact that people would put that shit on their cars and houses and shirts says a lot, that's the symbol of supporting the police. You couldn't just wear a I support the local police shirt. You couldn't just get one of those stickers that you get for when you donate money to them. No, you wanted to support the thin blue line. That's gang shit. All right, last thing is, of course, emails. You can always email us, theblackouttips@gmail.com. That is the email address. And we read some. The first one is from Candace, who says, "Hey, Rod and Karen. I'm a long-time listener and I really enjoy your show. Just wanted to share some news I came across regarding maternal health in Florida. DeSantis just signed a new law allowing C-sections to be performed outside of hospitals."
Outside of hospitals, nigga.
Can y'all believe this nonsense? There's a shortage of maternity wards in hospitals in Florida, and this is the solution. This will cause an increase of maternity and infant mortality. Why would DeSantis sign it? I'm sure he got paid. Look at who lobbied for it and what they get out of it. There's an excerpt. Here's an excerpt from the link. Women's Care Enterprises, owned by London-based investment firm BC Partners, lobbied hard for the legislation, according to KFF Health News. The firm will likely profit from the deal, as it will accept women with health insurance rather than Medicaid. This government program for poor Americans that the state has not expanded to cover more people. Gee, yeah, he does so much for money over there, and that's what's funny. He's very Trump-like in that way. In that he has gotten a lot of coverage as if he's an idealistic, or no, as if he's an ideologue, as if he's beholden to a certain set of conservative principles. But when you start going and looking into the coffers, looking at the money in Florida and his campaign, it's a lot of like his people invested in this type of alternative to the vaccine. So he's telling people, don't get vaccinated, do this instead. And it's like, well, that's just money. That's not principles. That has nothing to do with the vaccine working or not. That's just you finding a way to get a grift out of it. Profit over the lives of women and children the Republican way. I thought this would be something you'd like to share with your listeners. This is further proof of why voting matters and why both sides are not the same.
Right.
I'm a Floridian who no longer lives in the state, and it's so disheartening to see what has become of my state. It's going to take so much time and work to undo what Republicans down there have done. Once again, I love the show. Best regards, Candace. Thank you, Candace. Water-bagged review. This is from David, who says, Dear Rod and Karen, thank you so much for your time and innovation over the last few months. I resonated with everything you said since April. I love the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef breakdown. I love the House of the Dragon recap. I love listening to you two both on different shows. I'm happy you both enjoyed watching minor league baseball. I was a big Woodpeckers fan when I was living in Fayetteville. I also have a short story to share. The other day, my girlfriend let me know that she couldn't find the Rod and Karen show.
That's probably what it would have been called.
That's what I would have called it, and we would have not been as big as we are. She was looking for it because she wanted to play Guess the Race. I had no idea what she was talking about until she told me that I always whatever Ryder Karen, I always say whatever Ryder Karen say is worth gold. I realized she was talking about y'all, and I laughed so hard. Clearly, I ain't been spreading the word of House Morrow in the right way. I hope you got a kick out of that the same way I did. Yeah, you got to say the full Blackout Tips name. Okay, they not gonna know. Amon Wright saying, "Hey, Princess Rod and consort to the Queen Karen." Hey, Princess Rod, consort to the Queen Karen, first of her name, deliverer of puns, and master of rants, and the one who be knowing. Hope y'all are well. Great recap episode. I'm so glad. And she did say princess. She probably meant prince, but it don't matter. I'm not offended. Great recap episode. I'm so glad y'all mentioned Amon's Amon's. That's hilarious. Emotional support whore being in the group, because in the groups I'm in, people were only making jokes about how skinny he is, but they totally missed what she said. I also took her as being exasperated and tired of his sob stories, not necessarily afraid. She looked like she would have preferred having sex with him than hearing for the 1,000th time how he got teased for liking anime. I mean, being different. I think she is the only person who could have said that to him. She has the bountiful bosoms that are trying to convince a prince not to get all the small folk killed. Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of the joke Dave Chappelle made about how an older woman would have been better than Monica Lewinsky, where he's like, an older woman would have been sucking his dick like, you know, you should probably lower taxes. You know, like that's the like that's what she was equivalent of doing, was like, maybe don't be mean and kill random people in the streets. You know, like me, your favorite big titty woman. My favorite parts of the episodes were Damon's itchy domestic violence hands, all the misdirected anger, Otto realizing he backed the wrong horse or dragon, that is after reading his grandson for filth. Ray reading her husband for filth. Yeah, that was a good scene. When a true queen spoke and everyone shut the fuck up. I see you, Niecy. My thug tears when A&E were fighting. Allison doing the for the D challenge, and neglect my kids for the D. Okay, got it. And then the last one's just Infrared Crypto letting us know he sent those new beats that I played.
Thank you.
He said, "This is Ahmad, aka Infrared Crypto. First, I want to thank you for playing my music throughout the show and jamming to it. Hearing the tracks played on one of my favorite podcasts truly makes my day. Additionally, I'm sending another batch of beats for the show. Hopefully these sounds are just as solid as the other tracks we heard so far. Appreciate it as always, Ahmad."
Yeah,
and they were solid.
We love the beats.
Yeah, it's dope. I love y'all do such dope work, and I love being able to like share that with the world and
tell them to go check y'all out.
Yeah, so I'm glad. I'm glad that it means something to you too. All right, that's it. So we'll be back throughout the week. Thanks for listening. It's a short feedback show, so I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth. We're moving on. We'll talk to you guys later. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody.